Welcome to Overwatch. This time I'll be going through my impressions on the state of the game before we're in the winter break for Overwatch. I'll also discuss some of the plans for Overwatch on my channel during the downtime. First of all, I want to give a special thank you to those of you who sub to my stream. That support goes a long way into freeing me up for making content and is massively appreciated. Do keep in mind, however, Overwatch will be down for a little while, and while I do have some plans for some Friday streams going over some of the pro matches that we've seen, it won't be a regular thing until it comes back. The way that this will work is I'll go through a broad variety of topics and my opinions on the state of them. Due to the fact that I could talk about Overwatch and its design for hours, I'll focus on where I think the high priority tweaks lie. Also, as this is my feedback, it is somewhat based on opinion, so feel free to disagree on certain aspects. The footage in the background is a few random matches I've recorded, so enjoy those. Also, for ease of feedback collection, I've put a paste bin with the script of this video in the description. It probably isn't a perfect one-to-one of what I'm saying, but it's good enough for reference. I'll begin oddly on the meta level in terms of community. I love that Kaplan is recording these bite-sized videos and addressing hot-button topics. It helps the community feel listened to and to stop some of the more rampant speculation that takes place. It's also hands-off enough that people aren't distracted from the discussions that they are having. Keep that up or do more of them if you find the time. I suggest keep doing them post-launch as well. Ben Brode recently did one for Hearthstone to discuss some hot button topics there, and it just helps make the discussion feel more listened to. It doesn't always have to be Kaplan doing them, although it is great to see the lead designer talking straight to the community, but yeah, good job guys. Let's get into the game. Overall, I think the game is pretty healthy. I'll begin with a known issue in the community's current favourite punching bag, tick rate. The higher the better. Especially as someone who's part of the emerging pro scene, this will help the game and help give it legitimacy. Sometimes it feels like Blizzard are giving free sticks to trolls to beat the game with, Field of View for example, and tick rate is the latest one. It'll make the game feel tighter, more responsive and fairer. Otherwise, for overall systems and game feel, we're pretty good. I like the lack of restrictions on hero swaps and number. The issue with the pro scene right now with diva spam could be easier fixed via tournament rules, although if it bleeds into the game as a whole, well, good luck fixing that. Any issues with people trolling each other via hero picks can be fixed via another system. Ranked matchmaking. I want this for two reasons. First, having somewhere where your core, long-term, try-hardy players can see themselves progress will be vital. In all the competitive games, the ladder and being able to rank up is a core part of the game. Second, it'll bring with it an unranked mode. This takes the pressure off the single matchmaking ladder and means, for example, I wouldn't feel like I have to try hard and maximize every game because we have no relaxed and a hardcore ladder, they're just fused together. I've heard that this might not make it for release, so let me say it clearly. Get this done for release. Failure to do so will lead to people losing interest after a month or two as they see no progress based on their skill. Even if it's basic and later fleshed out, it's important. Other systems? Kill feed. Kaplan mentioned it was on its way in some form. I recommend looking over at CSGO and TF2 and copying some notes. Who killed who, with what, and if it was a headshot. Classes are more important than names. It'll also help in-game and spectating immensely. A good kill feed will also make the game feel fairer. Knowing that I died to a headshot without having to wait for the kill cam could make death feel less random, and reduce pressure on the need for a robust scoreboard. At current, let's say I'm playing Reinhardt and our team is stalled. I occasionally see Tracer zip past, but otherwise I have no idea what she's doing. If we need to change hero, I have currently no clue if I'm the problem or Tracer is or someone else is. A kill feed will help fill out some of that information as I can see who is killing who, although it doesn't entirely fix it for non-combat classes. So let's talk scoreboard. I'm a believer that more information is better, and I'm currently looking at a screenshot of the Heroes of the Storm scoreboard, arguably a far more casual game than Overwatch will be, and I'm in love with the raw amount of information it gives you. That said, due to hero swapping, I'm also aware that this kind of thing will be difficult to make work. For example, if I've been playing Symmetra and then I swap to Zarya, and someone complains that my damage is low on the scoreboard, there's obvious reasons why. If you could have a solid kill feed and really fine-tune the on-fire system to make it meaningful, it could work. So, how would that be accomplished? On-fire has to tell me who is legitimately doing well. The first hurdle is if 12 new players are playing or 12 pros. Doing well means radically different things to those people. I'm assuming you already understand this internally. On-fire has to adaptively shift goalposts based on the averages of those playing, then determine who is above average. If it is merely static, i.e. based on damage or healing done, high-level matches will just end up a mess where most of the team is on fire at any one time. Make it meaningful, give me lots of personal information, and give me the ability to have some sort of indication on how other people on my team are doing, and I'll feel happy in making smart decisions on changing my team comp or adapting playstyle. Right now, it feels so hard to judge the performance of my teammates relative to my own that it's a hard call unless something is very obviously wrong. Next up, joining and leaving. With the discussion of ranked, there has to be a way to penalise leavers. Currently you can end up in a frustrating loop where someone leaves because the game is stalled, someone else joins, sees it stalled, leaves, and then one team ends up constantly 5 versus 6. You can see this at the end of the game when one team has 10 players, and I wouldn't be surprised if those games happen to be the ones that ended up voted negatively frequently. In unranked, sure, fine, either a light penalty, can't play for 5 minutes or something, or none. Ranked, make it hurt to abandon a game, they're only about 20 minutes long, losing ladder for an hour or more infrequent offences, with repeat offences getting stricter. Frequent people leaving would kill the ladder. Also, very briefly, the voting system on other players, I actually really like it. When someone's being a salty arsehole all game, I like the fact that I have agency to just ignore them until the end of the match, then dictate that I don't want to play with that guy anymore. It'll also naturally filter arseholes out of the game. That said, long term I have no idea if it will help reformation, maybe have it fade off over time, but giving me agency to decide I don't want to play with X person is great. With higher player numbers, it might also have to bake harder into the matchmaking system, for example Dota 2's low priority queue system. Briefly on the UI, when playing a healer in particular it can be hard to know when to stop healing. Let's take Zarya. If I heal her to 50%, her health bar just stops going up as the rest of it is shields. There's no easy indicator if her shields are down, and that's just the case. Maybe transparent blue for depleted shields? Also, the chevrons that show player status at a distance. Having them green, then gradienting through to red would be more useful than just green, yellow and dead. The UI in general I'm okay with, but let me rescale things. I know early the philosophy was to have everyone seeing similar things, and I appreciate that idea, but I think it does you no real favours amongst the users. The people who would appreciate it the most wouldn't even consider it, while the people who dislike you for it will mock you. You lose either way. Another brief touch, remove contesting objectives while you're immortal. It isn't fun and it stalls matches. Reaper, Maze, Zenyatta and Mercy Res are the 4 cases I know where that happens. Final system I want to talk about is ultimates. Personally I think they're in a fairly good place, but I do have slight concerns about healer ultimates in particular. At the highest level we're seeing people shy away from certain heroes who just lack killing power because, for example, dealing area effect damage into a Lucio just gives the enemy team sound barriers for days. And the enemy team more ultimate in general because they're taking damage and giving you charge. This is something I'd recommend keeping an eye on, as at the highest level you can see certain heroes vanish entirely. I'll go into specific hero ultimates later. With that out of the way, let's talk about spectating. I'm well aware that the current UI and camera was temporary, so I want to basically describe my perfect spectator UI. I'm going to be unrealistic and feature heavy, although a simple solution to avoiding spectator UI being bloated for an average user is give it a toggle tournament mode or similar, enabling various features for use. Take a look at StarCraft 2. Modders rebuilt the UI there for tournaments and it's absolutely beautiful. A few things they did was give it modular display. You can hide certain UI elements and reveal them. Even better would be team name inputs during the lobby. Even better would be somewhere to track scores and stopwatch time. In terms of actual visuals, I need to know who is alive, what percentage their ultimate is at, their current health, and if they're in combat. Reduce the current on fire graphic by a lot as well please, as it does block off part of the screen and decreases clarity on low bit rates for streaming. Going back to StarCraft 2, they also do something very clever where you can press a button and get a quick comparison between both players on certain stats, such as minerals per minute and army value. Something similar to track teams in Overwatch, such as damage per minute or second, ultimates generated, might be useful. Even more useful will be to track comparisons between rounds, comparing Team A and Team B's times on attack at certain checkpoints, kills, deaths, all that stuff. If I had a spectator scoreboard that can track hero swaps, when they happened, and the player stats for each hero they played, even better. As someone looking to get into analytical or color casting, give me information, and I can make narratives and interesting points with demonstrable evidence about how well a player is doing, or how badly. Spectating in this way doesn't need to be as casual friendly as the game as a whole. I worry at times that Blizzard is very afraid to present people with things that may be slightly overwhelming at first. Don't pull your punches too much here or you'll cripple yourselves. CSGO, Dota 2 and StarCraft 2 all do a good job in giving a huge amount of data and it's wonderful. Get yourselves in with those names, the shoulders you want to be rubbing with. For camera, right now, when changing camera angles, sometimes it moves dynamically, particularly from first to third person, swooping into them or swooping back. Personally, not keen on that as it's visually busy and unneeded. Also, what would be nice is when you swap to a free camera, don't swap to just where you left it before 2 minutes ago when going into first person. It often results in a frantic dash to get back to the battle. Just have it pull back from the person you were spectating. In terms of controls, let me float up and down, and the current sprint in the camera when holding shift feels a little bit too fast. In first person view, let me see eliminations and avoid covering the player's health and ammo counters with the Spectator UI. Currently we can't see when a kill happens in first person, which makes specking Widowmaker, for example, a nightmare as I can't tell if she's even landing her shots. Finally, I'll mention replays. I know this is low priority right now, but it did help the pro scene in StarCraft 2 immensely have small file size replays floating around. Right now, focus on live spectating, but get this working ASAP as it'll be a huge boon long term, or something that'll be used as a stick to beat the game with, just like deservedly League of Legends constantly is. Ooh, right, okay, let's talk about maps briefly. Instead of going into too many specifics, I'll start by saying Hollywood is my current favourite map. It's varied, all the heroes feel effective in most of the areas, and all have places in the map where they shine. It's thematically fun, visually diverse, has great audio touches, and it's just wonderfully made. Volsky is my personal least favourite, mostly for the first point. Giving a flanking route so exposed to so many heroes often makes it nigh impossible to hold for any real length of time. Point 2 feels good once teams have stabilised. Second point on Hanamura also feels very bad to defend on. It's incredibly exposed and a lot of heroes struggle, particularly Reinhardt in defense, to find a use. Payload currently feels a lot more fun than capture point, mostly because capture points on a single wipe will frequently determine the game, while payload feels a lot more stable. That said, I really do like that matches are all roughly 10 minutes, or 20 for the full attack and defend. Let's talk heroes. I'm going to run through all 21, and most of them will just be a sentence or two. Some will be more. I'm looking at you in particular, Mercy. I'll do it in the order that they're on the Overwatch website, so that'll be release order. D.Va. Keep an eye on D.Va spam cheese at the end of matches. Might also need to be visually clearer that her weapons are really bad at long range, otherwise she feels fairly healthy. Mei can be extremely frustrating to play against. First, the clarity of her weapon for both herself and her enemies. The sound you're getting hit by it and the visual indication can feel fairly subdued in a firefight, and for many heroes, once hit by Mei, you're inevitably dead as you're slowed down and killed. Clarity on the radius and location of her ultimate would also be nice. Her ice block, I'd love it if it had some health, like 1,000 hit points, so she can't just ice block inside the entire enemy team and be totally safe. Giving some agency into breaking her out early would be great. Her wall also might be just a little bit too durable. Genji. I would like it if his effectiveness at long range was just limited slightly, a slight arc on the shuriken for example. Right now he's strong at all distances and can get between all distances with ease. That versatility makes him feel like a better flanker option than Tracer and also just good in general. Also, shuriken and melee animation cancel might be a little bit too much burst right now. Roadhog. He can feel like a punching bag for generating ultimates. When playing against him, I love it because he's such a big soft target and I can generate ultimates all day. Also, his reload animation feels a moment longer than it should and is extremely easy to cancel. Whether by design or not, it can be a little bit frustrating. Junkrat, I think he's pretty healthy. Grenades might linger a bit too long and thus be a bit too easy to spam. Lucio also feels pretty healthy, but as the only full-time AoE healer, keep an eye on the power of that. He can be frustrating to finish off, but that's just Lucio. Soldier 76, he feels it in a really good place. Reload animation is a little bit too long. Visually, the gun and muzzle flash in particular could both be shrunk a little. Zarya also feels very good. She's very skill and awareness rewarding. She might be overpowered when she's at high charge, but I'll hold off on that for now. Reducing the difference between maximum and minimum potential of Zarya might be necessary to keep her in check. Just narrow that range a little bit. Gun could also be a bit smaller and the readability of whether the beam is hitting or not could be improved. McCree feels good at the moment. He's extremely strong at close and medium range and good at long range as well with Mercy support. It might be a little bit too easy to spam with right click, but he feels fairly healthy. Tracer, she might need an increase on her cooldowns just slightly, as the top level Tracers are impossible to kill without a lucky shot landing. That said, I think Tracer's balance is also tied to Zenyatta, Torbjorn and Symmetra's, and if Zenyatta and Torbjorn become healthier, it'll make Tracer weaker indirectly and give better options to counter her. Reaper feels pretty good right now, his guns could also be a little bit smaller. Widowmaker feels really good right now, the ammo change was great and I think she's fine at the moment. Winston feels okay right now, he can be frustrating to play against as I think he generates about 50% of his ultimate from just his health bar being depleted, making him hard to remove, but he kind of needs that. He also has massive hidden strength in surprise Winston swaps, so just keep an eye on that. Pharah feels pretty good right now, she's incredibly powerful due to skill reward and mercy synergy. Again, this is also a hero that is very tied to Zenyatta's viability. Orb of Discord destroys her usefulness and will keep her in check if Zenyatta is buffed slightly. Reinhardt, he's by far the best main tank and also has one of the strongest ultimates in the game and one of the best assassination abilities in the game. He can neutralize enemy tanks via charging. I think Earthshatter might need to be a little bit more fussy about barriers. Right now I think if the barrier isn't contacting the ground, it'll go through, so if Reinhardt jumps and the enemy Reinhardt Earthshatters, he'll still knock everyone down behind him. And also have a bit of a smaller range. But expect him in every top match until we get a new main tank or better barrier removal. That could be part of the Bastion rework. Symmetra feels pretty good right now. She has issues gaining her ultimate, but it's so powerful I don't really mind that. It would be nice if our team could see when our turrets are warning about intruders to really make them feel like that defensive network. It would also be nice to see stat tracking on how much damage her shields prevent so you can see how useful she's being in that regard. Torbjorn needs a rework. He can work at moderately high level with a Reinhardt and Mei coordinating in certain places, but it's always going to be awkward. Let me put it this way, I have never once thought, oh yay, a Torbjorn's on our team is saved! Immobility will always be a problem, especially in a game where D.Va's bomb and defense matrix exist. Bastion also needs a rework. I would like to see more strength in recon mode, or just more utility in recon mode, that would be great. Ultimate, I'd like less health, but a heal on activation. Hanzo, he feels like he is the one with the least place in the roster right now. There's a few I've seen that are making him work, but at any range it feels like there's better options. His one saving grace is the scatter arrow, which can be super fun and skillful to use, or just as one of my friends says, a lottery arrow. Really suffers now that Genji is in the game and can do similar things but with weaker recon, but better viability at all ranges. Mercy, oh Mercy. Ultimate desperately needs changing to have counterplay. Make sure it cannot be used in the spawn where Mercy cannot be reached. My personal idea is to have it channel for maybe even 2 seconds and resurrect people during the channel. For example, if there's 5 dead people, so you fire the ultimate at second 0, 1 person is rezzed, 0.5, second person is rezzed, 1 second, third person, 1.5, fourth person, 2 seconds, final person. Ultimate charge drains while channeling, similar to 76 or Reaper. This removes the current situation where you get a massive power spike as everybody comes back at once, making it more gradual, and gets you at least 1 person consistently, and gives the enemy team time to find and kill Mercy. It also avoids the mess of someone respawning during the ult as often as it used to when it was changed, as it picks up those closest to respawning first. Zenyatta. In the right hands, he'll be a monster. Might need a little bit more health. His viability next to Mercy is his ability to snipe and deal damage, but he can never really risk doing so. He can feel fiddly to target the right person with heals as well. His ultimate feels a little at odds with his overall playstyle. You have to get into the fray, but most other times you want to be totally out of it. It does shore up his kit, however, and is more powerful than many people realise, so I'm happy giving that one time to work out. And alright, that's it. Take a sip of coffee, relax, we're done on the heavy stuff. I'll round out with a few things I really like, as this question was asked when I met the European team, and I didn't really have a good answer to come up with on the fly. The game has a lot of variety, and I'm still not bored with what must be well over 150 hours with it. I love the characters, and I love that they have little backstories. I'm absolutely the kind of person who gets invested in all that stuff, who learns backstories and gets giddy when one character says lines specifically to another. Expect me to own every Widowmaker skin and accessory I can get. I'm super hyped about the animated short, and I think it's a storytelling style Blizzard will be very strong at. Smaller scale, character-driven moments rather than large scale, which tends to fall prey to the same tired storylines and tropes about ancient evils and fate. I like that it feels easy to start the game and jump into a match quickly, even if sometimes I'm left skirmishing for a while. I think it's a testament to the strength of the game that now, after 2 days of not playing it, I really miss the fact that I can't just do a few quick rounds. Prioritize making the game able to stand amongst its peers now, get rid of the things that people can easily laugh at and mock it for. And give me reasons to invest time and energy in getting good at the game, and it'll be a flagship franchise for years. My final word of advice is don't be afraid to have complex elements or things that might seem scary to the most casual users. The most popular PC titles in the world right now are some of the most intimidating games on the planet. There's no correlation on the PC platform that simplicity leads to longevity. That's more a mobile and casual game-centric mindset. There's a hole for a new pseudo-arena shooter and Overwatch can easily fill it for years to come. Or it can occupy it for a year until someone caters to the competitive audience better. Thanks for watching to the end. This has been a long video about many of the aspects of the game, a compilation of feedback accumulated over the time I've had with it. Thankfully, my comment section is also extremely rational, so if you have other feedback and play the game, post it there. If you watch it, also feel free to talk about what's easy to watch about the game and what isn't from a spectator point of view. It'll all help the development of the game going forward. Otherwise, for the channel as a whole, I intend to work a lot on my guides during this time and also finish off the Soma and Ori playthroughs that I've left hanging for a little while now. I'm also kind of tempted to do an entire StarCraft and StarCraft 2 playthrough. Let me know if you'd be interested in that kind of stuff or what you would like to see from the channel. It all helps me immensely. Toodles!